This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. For once, I actually have good news, although it doesn't really solve anything. But seeing the devil's plans slow down a bit is always something that's a positive with the way things are headed in this reality. Every single day, it's just every story. Every time we see these people gaslit reacting the way they react, which is exactly what they want, we see ourselves heading more and more towards an enslaved society, which it is in some ways already. But the line is something I've covered many times in Saudi Arabia. If you're not familiar with the line is a massive prison that they're building with, of course, the illusion that it's this dystopian, utopian, I should say, reality, which is really a dystopian reality. It's very eerily similar to a lot of predictive programming and films that we've seen over the years where they show you these cities where everything is just green and all the buildings have flowers growing on them and everybody's happy and everything's, there's no crime, there's no problems. Of course, this is all just a dystopian reality that they're creating in people's minds to want this reality. But Saudi Arabia's city, the line that they're building, which people out there said was a conspiracy. I got people yelling at me, telling me they're not really building it. It's just an idea. No, they're building it. And it's already near completion, at least for the first rollout of this experiment, but they've halted nearly 98.6% of the plans for now, which of course was going to house millions of people in the middle of the desert. Of course, it ironically has a giant mirror on the sides of this so that you won't be able to see this mirage out in the middle of the desert. It literally is a prison that they're using mind control methods to make it look like it's a resort, to make it look like this is where you want to go. Oh my gosh, I could live here for free. Yeah, you can live here for free. You can never leave. And of course, once you're here, it's like being on a permanent vacation somewhere or being on a vacation anywhere somewhere. After a little bit of time of fun in the sun, the act gets old. And in a place like this, it'll be fun in the sun temporarily for an hour of recess per day, but you'll be locked in your dormitory like every other slave inside of this. But for those of you that don't know, they've been building the line, and now they're saying that they're going to halt it by about 98%. And instead of having 1.5 million people inside of here, they're going to do a test run with 30,000 residents. Now, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about when I say this is a dystopian nightmare, this is how it's being marketed to people, of course, with all these triggers that you could see if you're awake of how they play these background musics behind, the background music behind this and how it's, oh my gosh, there's an ocean and oh my goodness, we're going to have recreational activities. They could do the same thing with a prison cell for people. I mean, they could show people at a prison yard playing outside shooting a basketball for an hour and put nice background music behind it like they do in the big pharma commercials and say, hey, isn't this a wonderful life? And people out there could be so warped into believing that that is an actual wonderful reality. That's what they're trying to do here. So this is the line. If you don't know, this is what it looks like.
What is Neom? This is Neom, or here, to be more precise, in the northwest of Saudi Arabia. But Neom is more than a place. It's a home for people who dream big. Bigger than that. That's more like it. It'll be a hub for innovation, an entirely new model for sustainable living. The vision for a new future. In fact, that's how it got its name. But what will be there? There's Oxagon, a thriving city at the crossroads of the world, where advanced manufacturing will enable industries of the future. Trojena, a year-round mountain destination. And just remember to pack your skis when you visit. Or if skiing's not your thing, there's always Sindala, one of Neom's many beautiful islands, perfect for some R&R. And the line, a 500-meter high, 200-meter wide, 170-kilometer long city in the shape of, a line. No roads, cars, or emissions. And everything its 9 million residents could ever need within a 5-minute walk. But best of all, the entire region will offer unparalleled access to nature and will be powered by clean energy. All within easy reach of the rest of the world. I know what you're thinking. Why does the world need Neom?
That's a good question.
The world needs Neom because the world needs change. That's what we mean when we say
Made to change.
Neom represents a global opportunity for one, changing how the world does business by making the region a special economic zone, easing the way for entrepreneurs to blaze their trail. 2, changing the way we live our lives with preventative healthcare and the highest standards of livability. Sounds nice, right? And 3, changing how we look after nature and our planet. Because without this, what use are 1 and 2? But how will NEOM achieve these aims, you may ask? Within NEOM are 14 sectors, spearheaded by the world's best talent. Each sector has been designed to advance technology and push the very limits of human knowledge. Imagine NEOM as a prototype for a better future. A future for all. One being built to last. Sound good? Great. So when the world asks, what is NEOM? You'll know to answer that NEOM's a place that'll change the way we live on this planet. Simple, really.
NEOM is open for business. The new future being built in Saudi Arabia to redefine business, livability, and conservation. Environmental, social, and governance is at the heart of everything we do. Our special economic zone is almost the size of Belgium and sits at the crossroads of 3 continents, providing a new destination for global trade and investment. Progress is rapid with large-scale investment, best in the world talent onboarding every day, and construction gaining pace exponentially. The Line, our city of the future, is moving forwards fast, as is our Center for Advanced and Clean Industries, Oxygen, the luxury island destination, Sindala, and the mountains of NEOM at Trojena. There are already 3,000 plus NEOM employees here from more than 90 countries, as well as more than 60,000 construction workers. Major infrastructure projects like roads, utilities, and a hospital are already built in NEOM. Some $2 billion will be invested into the port of NEOM, and the first container terminal will open in 2025. We are owned and supported by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. We have raised $6.1 billion of financing to build the world's largest green hydrogen plant to produce green ammonia at scale in 2026 through NEOM Green Hydrogen Company, a joint venture with Air Products and Aquapower, and one of the biggest social infrastructure public-private partnerships globally, will see $5.6 billion invested into building 10 residential communities to house 95,000 people. NEOM will offer the best international standards in relation to tax, the regulatory environment, and commercial law. With access to 13% of world trade flowing through the nearby Red Sea and 40% of the globe being within a 6-hour flight. Nobody has done this before. That's why it's special. A new economic model and a beacon of change that will benefit generations to come. We invite you to join us by investing in the new future where people and planet can thrive while businesses can provide lasting impact. This is NEOM.
Okay, so it's good news that they're slowing down progress on it. It doesn't mean that the pullback is going to prevent this thing from rolling out the way they want it to roll out. But remember, Agenda 2030 is close. This thing cannot realistically be done and people be living in there by 2030 with 1.5 million people. But over time, maybe by 2035, it can be. So the pullback on the line comes as the Kingdom's Sovereign Wealth Fund is yet to approve NEOM's budget for 2024. It shows that the financial realities of the trillions of dollars of investment are starting to cause concern at the highest levels of the Saudi government as it tries to fulfill its vision by 2030, which again, anyone out there not paying attention to this number 2030, and while you keep hearing politicians talk about 2030, even in fact, in some cases we've heard them say they want to speed it up to 2025 because they're so nervous that people out there are going to get suspicious and wake up to this. They're very hell-bent on it. And the number 2030, we keep hearing them talk about it with so many different things, and nobody ties it together how the enslavement plan is for 2030. That's why the outbreak occurred when it did. That's why the next wave of that outbreak is going to happen before 2030. And of course, we still have grid shutdowns and we have fake elections to occur that are really going to shake things up. So another thing that concerns me too, that I talked about over on the website, is when we look at the line, Okay, there's going to be many variations of this thing, but you may have seen in that clip that I showed you, the way that they're going to market this to people should scare, you would think it would scare people when they're coming out and they're saying 40% of the globe would all be within a 6-hour flight. Okay, so they're going to cram everybody up in these areas. Of course, the rest of the world, they'll just pretend like, the rest of the world, because of the climate, it's underwater. They'll contain everybody into small quarters. They'll tell you that it's wonderful. You're by the beach. You can get a little bit of sun. Everything, of course, will be documented. You'll be on a carbon footprint. Your allotted time will be managed by them. You're not allowed to go over allotted time. It's no different than being a prisoner. Just the illusion, of course, is the illusion of freedom. The other thing I've been concerned about, and I've talked about over the years, is how they're going to build a lot of these like The Line, and they're going to brand this to people. Okay? So in other words, we're going to see a lot of these things like I'm about to show you that Disney is doing. If you haven't heard, in Anaheim, and again, I covered this on the website. If you didn't see the video, check it out over there. Anaheim is concerned, residents are concerned because Disney is buying public roads. Okay, which this one, in that video I talked about, this, if you're out there and you're not woken up yet to the American corporation, this should sum it up. How does a corporation have the right to buy public roads? The public roads don't belong to anybody but the people. So the people signing off on it? No, they're not. But the state is. So they're expanding in Anaheim. And this all ties into this dystopia as well with Disney World. Disney is building out these small prison resorts. Okay, they're themed villages. And they're going to market a lot of these prison camps this way. And now people out there go, whoa, you're getting a little out of control. It's a little crazy. No, it's not. If you think about the programming and the mind control, when you look at these adults behaving as children with Disney World, with Star Wars, with the Marvel stuff, they're going to make themed villages for these people. And they're going to move into these themed villages and they're going to feel like they're living in a movie for 5 seconds. And then when it wears off and they realize that they can't get out, it's going to be too late. Okay, because once you submit to the carbon footprint, once you allow it to be put in place and the technology's in place, you ain't going anywhere at all. You're going to be stuck wherever you are. So if you haven't seen this, this is Disney's idea. And this is right out of a horror movie, right? There's so many of these dystopian movies out there that have these like this reality where it's Stepford Wives and it's like, it's this country club and everybody's fitting in, but then it turns into a horror film. That's exactly what Disney is working on creating. And of course, the suckers who are lining up for Disney day in and day out that Disney could do no wrong. They're under Disney CIA programming, will line up for these things. Look at this Disney themed village and tell me that this isn't a dystopian hell.
I'm proud to announce our next Disney experience, Story Living by Disney. All new Disney branded master planned residential communities designed to be the perfect setting for Disney fans to write the next exciting chapter in their lives. And some neighborhoods will be planned for residents ages 55 and over. Story Living by Disney allows us to leverage what we do best: world-class service, legendary storytelling, and creativity. This exciting new venture will enhance, extend, and strengthen the Disney brand by allowing us to bring the magic of Disney to places you may never have expected.
These vibrant communities will be infused with Disney placemaking. Picture an energetic community with the warmth and charm of a small town and the beauty of a resort. A place that entices inspiration and makes every moment more memorable than the last. A Story Living by Disney community is something truly special.
We're exploring a variety of locations in the U.S. for our Story Living by Disney communities. And while each site will have core Disney DNA, each will also have a very distinct personality, drawing inspiration from the local landscape, from the history, and the culture. I'm standing here in the community of Rancho Mirage, just outside of Palm Springs, California. And I'm excited to announce that our first Story Living by Disney community will be located right here, not far from the area where our founder, Walt Disney, once lived. The first community will be called Cotino, and in addition to residential homes, this development is also expected to host a hotel and a range of shopping, dining, entertainment, and leisure activities, as well as a grand oasis featuring clear turquoise waters with crystal lagoons technology. Voluntary club membership will offer access to our waterfront clubhouse, a club-only beach area with recreational water activities, as well as Disney programming, entertainment, and activities throughout the year. While our Disney Imagineers are contributing to the creative concept for this community and future communities, we're not in this alone. We'll be working with highly respected real estate developers and experienced home builders at each site who contribute their talents and expertise to each community. Now let's take a look at Cotino with the help of one of our creative minds behind the project.
There is an incredible natural beauty in the Coachella Valley landscape, and you can see why Walt Disney used to escape to the desert to dream the impossible. I want to give you a look at our first community in Rancho Mirage. Our clubhouse takes inspiration from a modern-day art studio, with each space celebrating different expressions of art and design. Here's a peek inside of what our lobby space could look like, inspired by a studio gallery. So you can imagine people gathering for a monthly art show, perhaps with pieces from Disney artists or from local residents. Best of all, the space perfectly frames the pristine lagoon waters at the heart of our community. Across the lagoon is the town center. Picture open markets with vibrant businesses that bring an array of culinary and musical and artisanal experiences to life. On the shores of the lagoon, a professionally managed park is planned to provide beach access and recreational water activities. Through the purchase of a day pass, the public can relax and rejuvenate in this beautiful oasis.
Okay, so while we have good news about the line being slowed down, of course, it's good news anytime they slow down operations. But what it really means when you hear that they're slowing that down, but on the flip side, Disney's buying up public roads and Disney's rolling out their themed villages, is that they're going to do these in trial runs, okay? They're not going to get 1.5 million people in one of these Saudi Arabian cities in the middle of the desert, but they're going to try it with 30,000 people. And that might not sound like a lot compared to 1.5 million, but 30,000 people is larger than probably the town that you're currently living in. Now, it's not as big as a city. It's not as big as a large city, but it's the size of a small suburbia or even a small city. And these are going to roll out like that. You're going to hear flip sides all around the earth of stories like this. You're going to hear The Line. You're going to hear Disney's theme village. You'll probably hear of a Lucas Productions Star Wars theme village. You name the programming that's in place that people are obsessed with, they'll put it out there. They'll market it. And then you won't believe that it's what the things that I'm saying. People out there will be like, oh, that's a crazy conspiracy. It's just a Disney theme park. It's a theme park where you could live. And they won't even understand what's happening to them because they're so dumb at this point to not realize that this is an American corporation. Disney flat out buying public roads should be enough for people to go, hey, wait a second. How does Disney have the right to buy a road? Well, guess what? This country is sold out. The roads are supposed to belong to us. The government is supposed to work for us. Right? But what's happening is the corporations are running everything, and they're even taking public roads and giving them to corporations. And eventually that's just going to spread, and people will become desensitized by the Disney story, and they'll be like, hey, did you know Amazon bought off half the state of New Hampshire? And people will go, oh, like, well, I guess he's got a lot of money, instead of even thinking like, wait a minute, what belongs to the people? Oh, nothing belongs to the people. The corporations can buy it up. Kind of like the stuff you've heard about China buying up our farmland, which is completely illegal, or Bill Gates buying X amount of farmland. People are like, well, why can't Bill Gates buy it? Well, let's think about it from this perspective. If streets belong to the public, if it's a public road, it means it's a public street. That means that the state and the people reside over the jurisdiction of the road. How in the world can a corporation, what do they make an offer to the state, say, hey, we're going to buy your roads up? Doesn't the state have to go to the people and ask them, do the people get a cut of that money? No, of course not, right? They just are doing what they want to do because they know that the majority of people are so dumbed down that they don't even understand what is happening around them. So the line again, this city, as you saw from the clips I showed you, this is how they're going to market. Remember that. Marketing is key to this whole system. They're marketing this stuff the same way I always tell people if they don't understand what that means. Watch a big pharma commercial. I have a video on my website, it's pretty hilarious, where I take the background music out, okay? And you just listen to the stuff that they're saying. They play this background music. It's a husband and wife holding hands on a beach while they're listing off side effects of a drug that might give you a boner. And they're telling you how, well, you're going to have risk of dementia, stroke, you name it. And they name about 75 side effects off. But you would never think it was a bad commercial or a bad thing. Because the imagery, they're on the beach, they're running and holding hands. They're talking about how the guy may never make a bowel movement ever again after taking this pill, but isn't that pretty? Oh, they look like such a happy couple, right? That's happening in front of our eyes, okay? They're marketing death to you. They're marketing poison to you. They're marketing slavery to you. That commercial that you saw, the two commercials, Disney and The Line, that's them marketing prisons to you. They could do the same thing with prison cells. And people out there would actually be like, you know what? The prison life doesn't look that bad. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do, since they're pretty much training people out there to become criminals. They're telling people how to commit perfect murders. They're subconsciously telling people how to commit murder, what the best way to commit it is. All these stories out there, these crime stories. We've never seen so many crimes. Every day there's a story of like a beheading. And people out there aren't even suspicious as to why. You know, people used to commit murder. They were called serial killers. And then other people who committed a murder, if a guy killed his wife or a wife killed her husband, which is horrible, they did it in like some type of an argument. They weren't dismembering bodies and stuff. Every story, every day, these people are being trained because they're watching these true crime shows and how to commit murders to their spouses. Gabby Petito, they learn, they did this. They don't even realize, they're like, I would never do that. Then these people end up doing it. And you're like, how do they know how to do this stuff? How do they know how to dismember a body? You know, nobody asks these questions because the government's telling you this stuff. They're putting all this stuff out there and using different means to mind control you into acting these things out, into how to do it. So in other words, if somebody out there committed a crime against their spouse, okay, they'd be like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to do that, right? But instead, they're like, oh, all right, let me get a saw. Let me go to Walmart, get a circular saw. Let me make sure I'm not on camera. Let me make sure I don't bring my cell phone so it doesn't ping. And these people are learning how to become criminals and commit perfect murders, right? And there's no such thing as a perfect murder because they're still going to likely get caught unless, of course, they identify as a certain gender or a certain skin color. Then, of course, they'll be let out of prison immediately because that's what they're doing by design right now. But if they started airing commercials, okay, they're training people in those ways and they're training people in other ways to look at these things as if these are dreams come true. Oh, life's so tough. I'd love to pack a suitcase and go to Saudi Arabia and live in the line. Oh, yeah. Until you're in there and you realize you have about 25 square feet for yourself. No, literally, you're going to have the size of a prison cell to work, to crap, to sleep. But they're going to put beautiful wallpaper on the wall. There aren't going to be bars on your windows. Instead, there's just going to be an electric fence like dogs with dog collars have. You aren't going to be able to get in and out anywhere without technology on your body, in your body. Doors won't open. You'll be able to access things without the technology, and it'll be shut off at certain times. Won't be able to shower when you want. And everybody out there's just going to keep going along with it, thinking that it's wonderful because there's a beach out the window. Ooh, that looks nice. Yeah. Try running to that beach in the middle of the night if you want to take a dip. You're going to get electrocuted and tasered, right? So they are marketing these things in these types of ways, and then they're making people like me out to be crazy nut jobs. They're telling you that they want people literally trapped. You know, what was the exact quote? Let me get the exact number. How much of the population they want? They want 40% of the globe or the earth being within a 6-hour flight. 40% within 6 hours. Which is, let's just say 50%, right? Let's say that means that half the earth would be the distance of a flight from, in America. That'd be like taking everybody in America, right? Because a flight from New York to California, let's say, is 5 hours, maybe 6. Let's just say that. Taking every citizen on the earth and cramming them into North America. Huh? How's that sound? Yeah, it sounds like hell. Well, that's ultimately the goal. They're going to move people closer and closer, enslave them more. They're going to lock down countries. They're going to take over the countries that have resources. They're going to keep the resources for themselves. And we're all going to be slaves. People out there are like, whatever. As long as I got my phone, I got Pokemon Go. Yeah, until you're in it. That's what I'm trying to warn people about. So keep an eye on the stories. It'd be very interesting to see if, they're talking about the Neom Desert City being cut back. So I'm interested to see how soon it is until they roll out 30,000 people into this prison, because the marketing is going to be crucial. And how they convince these people to regurgitate what they're saying, to come to videos like this and tell us we're all nut jobs for thinking that this beautiful utopian world they're creating is hell on earth. And then you go, well, they can't get in and out, right? And they go, so what? That's for the climate. And then you just try to break down the walls that they have up, and they don't even realize that they're slaves. It'll be interesting to see. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.